Welcome back to the Unaffiliated Mind. And today we have another one we're going to be discussing, or really just following up on the anti-ICE protests with the students out in Uniclaw, Washington. Now, this is where the students had clashed with local law enforcement that was responding to a protester that had and thought that violence was going to be the answer and punch the other individual that had an opposing view from theirs in regards to ICE. Now, when I first saw this video, I had this one question. It was like, where were the adults at to help prevent this from happening? Like, where were they at? And we got some of those answers from this interview that Brandon Cruz did from the Undivided channel with the chief of police and his officers that responded to the situation. And I'll place her link of the full interview in the video description down below. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it.
So I guess the question I have at the onset is, like, where were the adults? When I watched this, and I know the school has said, we didn't condone this or whatever it is. And there's all this back and forth about whether schools can actually stop kids from walking out. And I don't even want to get into the First Amendment part of it. Yeah. But I mean, were there no adults present?
There were adults present. They were, from my understanding, they were across the street watching, acting as quote unquote chaperones, apparently.
So there were adults out there, which is wild to me that you allow that to escalate to that point, despite your differences in regards to on the political aisle, where their arguments are just emotionally charged, filled with slogans, and there hasn't really been as much thought into the totality of the situation and really taking a step back and looking at the history with immigration in our country and how this has played out. And individuals still may have a disagreement about that. I get that. But to think that violence is the best answer to the situation, it is a dangerous thing to think that, but I digress.
I don't know who any of them are. I don't know if they are associated with the school district or not, or if they're just parents. But yeah, there were adults in the area for sure.
Would you have hoped that they would have intervened?
I would have hoped that they would have, yeah, before it got out of hand, for sure.
Wow. I mean, what do you make of just the scene of there's this video and there's officers in it and the kids sort of following and almost mobbing the officers as they're trying to take someone into custody? I mean, that's a tough situation for law enforcement, is it not? Because, I mean, if it's adults, you lay down the law, and you guys did make arrests, but when it's kids, does that complicate things?
The whole scene is complicated. We knew about this walkout and we monitored from a distance. We actually had a police drone monitoring the whole thing from when they left the high school until they got up to City Hall. We had officers in the area. And when the assault victim came and reported to our officers that were nearby, our officers went to contact that suspect and she took off running. And there was a short foot chase, which hasn't gotten much coverage on social media, and that she stopped in the middle of State Route 169 and was blocking traffic, and we went to arrest her, and she wanted to resist arrest at that point.
That is dangerous. You have a juvenile, that's running in the middle of traffic, trying to evade police, and there's supposed to be chaperones there. And I don't know for sure, to his point earlier, I don't know for sure if those chaperones were vetted. You're so ingrained into a particular cause that all awareness, it just gets excluded. It's all about the cause, no matter the cost. That's what it appears to be in this situation, which is a dangerous thing for having individuals thinking that, hell, well, it happened, but it was a worthy sacrifice. I hate to say that, but it just comes off that way whenever individuals are willing to allow this to happen with children with the protests, and not do a damn thing, just sit there on the sidelines. Like, that is insane.
That's when the mob kind of followed over there and surrounded officers, and then you've seen, the video from there. Yeah. Luckily, it was in close proximity to our jail. We could just walk her right into our jail.
Yeah. Have you gotten any sort of pushback from community members about affecting arrests on student protesters?
We have not. The overwhelming message from our community, and even messages that I've received from across the country, has been supportive of the actions that we took. Of course, we want to protect everybody's First Amendment right to free speech, but that doesn't give you a pass to commit crimes. And I commend my staff for the way they handled themselves. We are a small department. We don't deal with a lot of civil unrest type issues out here. But when it happened, they acted with great teamwork and patience and professionalism and restraint, and took care of the situation so nobody else got hurt.
If you're going to allow your kids to participate in a protest, I think that there should be things leading up to it to be able to educate individuals that are involved in this situation so that if they're confronted with someone with an opposing view, then at that point in time, they're able to have a dialogue, even though they may not agree, even though they may say like, hey, look, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of pressured. I'm in a corner here. I don't know what to say in this. I haven't fully flushed out the topic as far as like looking at everything. And that's an indicator right there that there needs to be more of a discussion around this. And that's kind of like my perspective on it. But get at me in the comments. Please be safe. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to an unaffiliated mind. Until next time, deuces. Yes, sir.